And good evening. Welcome to the Tina Peters Show. I'm Ann Vandersteel, sitting in the lightning chair for the one and only indomitable Tina Peters. She is, of course, a Gold Star mom, a fallen Navy SEAL, and a former election official for the Mesa County, Colorado Recorder's Office. She turned a whistleblower. And let me tell you something, when she became the whistleblower, the whistles haven't stopped blowing. What's coming out right now all over the place. In fact, the news cycle is just obliterating me. I can't keep up with everything that's happening, but she is still sitting in prison because she's a whistleblower. She's been charged with 7 felonies, 5 misdemeanors for exposing the traitors of our country's selections. Go to tinapeters.us, please, right now. Pick up your phone. Go to tinapeters.us right now, and please donate to this woman. She is still languishing in a gulag. We need to contribute anything we can because she really is the water breaker. The moment that we are all going to come to grips with when we learn so clearly just how these elections were stolen. Tina Peters stood in the gap for all of us when really not many people would. All right, when we come back from the break, I'm going to hit a couple of quick news points, and we're going to bring in our guests this evening. We've got 2 incredible people. Joft Hoft. Gosh, I mean, what can you say about Joft Hoft? But I'll give him a better intro when we come back. And of course, my partner in crime and co-founder of the American Made Foundation, Maureen Steele. We have a lot going on. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, Tina Peters here.
See, today they go after you if you're investigating.
Yeah.
That was like.
And welcome back. I'm Ann Vandersteel again, sitting in for Tina Peters. Wow, what a lightning round of news cycles we are living through these days since President Trump stepped into the Oval Office on January 20th. On Thursday, he actually signed an executive order, hallelujah, praise God, to finally just take down that horrible inferno known as the Department of Education, something that Jimmy Carter got started in 1979, 1980, and it has poisoned the minds of millions of children. And look at what we're living in. It's a complete toxic wasteland of woke ideology, DEI on steroids. And it's going to be a long haul to unpoison these minds. But guess what? We can do it because we're committed here. And so committed that we kept the pressure up, that President Trump actually dropped the JFK files this week. Thank you so much for getting that out there. Shall I say, my comrades all over social media have had a ball diving into him. I'm going to explore a little bit of that with my guest first up here, Joft Hoft, because I want to see what he found to be the most intriguing. Also, Letitia James, that totally diabolical demon out of New York. Remember her? She was going to get Trump. Well, apparently there's major mortgage fraud alerts coming out of New York with respect to her and some apartment buildings she owns. And possibly she even married her father to help get this really low interest rate loan. This is going to, of course, this story is going to be developing, but she also claimed a financial hardship as well, claiming that she earned, I think it was over $126,000 the year she applied for this mortgage. And of course, FEMA fraud continues. That's right. You've got in Los Angeles, shocker, I know, 20 times more applicants for FEMA aid than there were fire victims. I just can't understand why anybody would think they could take advantage of the federal government that just likes to print money like it's just going out of style. And get this, that clown, Chuck Schumer, that's right, shockingly so, apparently his popularity is now cratering after all this continuing resolution drama. Who would have thought that maybe people were finally pissed off with Chuck Schumer? And of course, the swatting has continued. 15 conservatives have been swatted. This is something that's horrific, by the way, because when you think about what the police are thinking when they run into your home with guns pulled, fingers on triggers, they've been told that you or someone in your house has done something so horrific, like murder one of your loved ones. That's right. Well, the swatting raids have continued. And I think one of the most notorious ones that was really all over social media was Owen Schroyer, a delightful young man over in the Alex Jones network. Horrible. And of course, the Teslas continue to burn. They're now apparently these people who used to be all in for the green cars are now all out because it's, of course, Elon is supporting President Trump, which is putting out fires left and right. Well, they're going to try and burn it all down. Global protests are planned to take down the Tesla this week. And the FBI is now investigating. And I think Pam Bondi says she's got 3 arsonists who are going to be facing severe charges. So all of this, again, we can't get to this kind of insanity without complete corruption in our elections, which is why Tina Peters has been so valuable. But speaking of elections, we're going to get into it right now with our first guest, because joining me now to break down some of the latest on this red zone of what we call our election integrity is the OG himself, Joft Hoft. Joe, formerly an international corporate executive, is now the host of the Joft Hoft Show, author, contributor over at the Gateway Pundit, and good friend. Joe, good to see you.
Man, great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I want to roll back. I just kind of rattled off a few news items that have gone on this week as we're wrapping up the week here on the Tina Peters Show. You know, when you look back, I know it's a fire hose and you're in the news business. I don't know how you do it because you guys publish. But what stands out to you to be the biggest item this week that if Tina was watching this, she'd go, oh, yay.
Mm. Well, I think the JFK files is a pretty big deal for sure. Although I guess more than anything, what it's done is it's just confirmed for us what we've suspected for a very long period of time. So some new findings there, but that's it. It just confirmed quite a bit. Some things that we were shocked about, but so I think that's probably the big piece for sure. And I think as it soaks in, as people start thinking about it, as it turns out that people start realizing, my God, the CIA actually assassinated a president. Um, the more they're gonna be really pissed, as they should be.
Was there any doubt in your mind that the CIA was involved in this?
Well, that's a good question. One guy I've been following is Roger Stone, and Roger wrote a book about it, and I've talked to him about it. And he wrote his book. His thesis was that LBJ was behind it, but that involved the CIA, that involved others. So yeah, I don't think so. No, the Bay of Pigs and all that. I didn't know a lot of this new information though. Probably some people did. I haven't. It's not like I've been a study of the JFK assassination. I've seen some of the videos and things like that, but and saw the movie JFK, which now at the time, remember how they were trying to debunk it. Oh, that's just garbage. Blah blah blah. And now it's like, well, no, That's now it's more of the truth than anything we ever heard before. So. I think that's huge. I think the thing is about that makes it really so big, not just the facts that came out, but just the awakening that America now we are seeing the truth, and we're finally seeing the truth on a major issue for the first time. So I think that is what makes it so important. We find Epstein's files was a mess, but this now we're finally seeing some real truth, and that's the big story here. Is hey, maybe we can get to the truth again.
Well, so I want to unpack that a little bit more because you brought Epstein into it, which is where I was going to go. So thank you for teeing that up. You read my mind. Part of this disclosure that we've gotten out of the JFK files is that they're in numerous documents, and it was funny because the first one I opened it talked about Israel, and there seems to be sort of this bizarre kind of you can't say Israel. It's sort of like you can't say fight in Fight Club. It's bizarre. You can't talk about countries as if you're all of a sudden you're a racist if you say the word Israel. Israel is a country. America is a country. Ethiopia is a country. Just because I say Ethiopia doesn't mean I'm racist against Ethiopians. There's different people, different colors that live in Ethiopia. They're not all the same. It's the same in America. It's the same in Israel. But for some reason, Israel is super taboo. And it seems that they've really levered up that if you try to implicate anybody in the Israeli government or the intelligence community specifically, they throw the shield up and say, oh, you're an anti-Semite. And I think, I want to ask you this contextually because the Epstein files came out and Pam Bondi was going to release them. And they had this thing that went down at the White House. And frankly, it was a flop. It looked really bad. And it was handled, I'm going to call it like I see it, really poorly. And it put out information that we already had. And I feel like the people that were brought to the White House were frankly used. And I feel badly for them because they took a lot of heat from a lot of people like us. Like, what the hell is that? Right. So is it possible in your mind that they realized they probably should release the JFK file so that people could come to a rationale that perhaps bad people exist in the Israeli government and perhaps they had a hand in it, just like the bad people in the United States government? And people need to sort of warm up to this, that it's not an anti-Semitic position to say that.
Now that's an interesting perspective, Ann. Not a bad idea. Not bad because we do expect to see Israel all over this Epstein files mess, even suggesting that Epstein was working for the Israelis. So, not a bad thought. The other thing I thought too is just it's a warm up for, okay, now we know the CIA killed John F. Kennedy. And I think we should say that, just say
Yes.
our CIA killed a president. Now we're going to next know that maybe Epstein will come in, maybe it won't, but we're going to know that the CIA killed Bobby Kennedy Jr. And if you've listened to RFK Jr. talk about the story, he studied his dad's murder, says the guy that killed him, all the gun wounds were behind his head. It wasn't Saran. They caught all of his guns, the bullets, none of them hit his dad. The guy behind him is who killed him, and that guy was a CIA agent. So now we're going to find Robert F. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Probably we'll find the same about Martin Luther King, and this is going to be terrible. So there's a queuing process. You're right. I think the CIA part is going to come out and it's going to be tough. I noticed this too. Pompeo, who was telling Trump last time, "Oh, don't release him; it'd just be too damaging." Blah 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 blah. What a punk! What a
Totally.
disgrace. And then I saw a video and I put it up today when I was talking on my show of Pompeo laughing about being in the military and sharing the truth. And then he got in the CIA, and there were even classes on teaching you how to lie. And he laughs, and the crowd laughs. And I'm like, what a snake! This guy. Thank God Trump doesn't have people like him. At least that guy not near him. I think right now Trump's surrounded by some really great guys. But getting back to the point too about Pam Bondi, I'm not happy with her at all. I'm
Me neither.
disgusted. We have enough evidence already to indict a number of criminals. The coup d'état of the Russian collusion. This stuff, there's, James Comey. We're going to do an investigation on James Comey. Are you kidding me? What do we not know about this guy already?
It's
So
laughable.
and when we sat through this with Bill Barr, where we gave him a lot of grace period because we thought he was really going to work hard. Then he brings in Durham, and that was all a head fake. There was maybe more to cover up than anything. And then Epstein's, suicide by Barr. And no big deal that somebody sneaks into this entity and kills him in this prison. I've talked to a prisoner who's been there, an inmate. He says it's just there's no way. There's no way you're walking around that building, nobody sees you. There's no way that they don't see anything. There's cameras everywhere, and to suggest that they didn't have that information was bogus. And Bill Barr, and of course somebody who was worked at the CIA years prior with Bush. And then we had the election where Bill Barr laid an egg on us. So I don't want to see us go through that again. I don't want to give Pam any grace period. I want her to do things right now. And today she announced she was going to continue on Thursday she mentioned that she was going to continue these shipments of inmates, out of the U.S. I think that's good. That's strong. She has every right to do it. I don't know if she articulated why. But this has already been settled back in 1948 in a case. Everything President Trump did is right. All she needs to say is that the judiciary has no business being in this ruling at all. I don't know if she did that, and if she didn't, again, that's kind of limited hangout stuff. That's what I'm most concerned about. I guess. Am I happy about the news we're getting? Right, I am, but we've got to do so much more because I was sharing with my brother Jim even a little bit ago this evening, and it was like we could do 10 of those things each day. Massive arrests every day for the next 4 years. That's how badly broken this country is. And if we don't do that, then I don't know how we survive long run. I don't. I mean, we've got a chance now to fix things. We either do it or we don't, and we can't be slow at it. It's outrageous.
Americans are fed up. They're fed up. They are done with sitting back and watching, rules for thee and not for me. They're done with the two-tier judicial system. They're done with the corrupt activist judges. They're done with President Trump. I mean, we've now watched President Trump be, slaughtered like a pincushion, and the man is still standing, and he, fight after getting shot in the ear. It's just, It's insane what we have gone through as a nation. And yet, we are not seeing the big arrests. Okay, we had an FBI guy fleeing the country today. He got arrested. That's good. Like you said, we're deporting the worst of the worst. That's great. We're not, but again, the DOJ doesn't get to stand on that. Article 4, Section 4 really does, along with a couple of other things, some other statutes. So we don't need Pam Bondi for that. What we need her for is to start arresting. And look, you're right. James Comey's rap sheet goes back to Whitewater and HSBC. He's been the fixer for the Clintons for years. This is like it's all we have it all, right? Open source journalists have it all, which means we know Pam Bondi and the DOJ and Cash, they have it all. So why is there not any movement in this is beyond me. It's frustrating. I can tell you right now, in the next couple of days, I'm going to put a piece out. It'll probably come out next week because I've got to call the governor's office down here in Florida. But I'm putting on a piece, and part of it's going to implicate Pam Bondi. It's not going to be good. So, she was here as the attorney general during the Epstein phases, Epstein years, shall we say, from 2012 to 2018. So this isn't as if she isn't aware of what's going on. So it's either intentional or she's in way over her head, or she's being sidelined and used and made a scapegoat. I don't know, but it's whatever it is, none of those three options I just laid before you are good. So I'm not sure how that story or that chapter is going to wrap up. I can say this, the people are going to get very loud about it because we expected Epstein files day one. We were told Epstein files day one. We were even told by Cash, who I really just really, really like, that he was going to turn the FBI into a museum. I say, make it a Holocaust museum. I'll give the docent tours. But I just haven't seen movement in that direction.
Not at all. And I got to tell you, the people that worked there were criminals. They weren't, just led by bad people and therefore they're good people. No, these were criminals, and we haven't seen nearly enough prosecutors, if any, other than what Ed Martin did in DC. We still got the same prosecutors. We still got the same FBI agents. You have that agent recently that withheld the evidence on the Epstein files, gets bagpipes marching him out, and everybody's cheering him. We had what's his, the last AG, the nasty guy for under Biden, Garland, just get marched out to applause. None of those people should be employed. This guy was a criminal.
I know.
Both of them.
I know.
So we're not seeing anybody fired, so that's a real red flag too. So now we're starting to see nothing get done. Same team. Okay, now it's time to get excited about it, because we don't have time. And I was talking to Owen Schroyer about it actually on Thursday, and we don't have time. My concern is I'm fearful. We've got only this limited amount of time, and every day that goes by that we don't make arrests and really move forward, we don't need to believe that you're doing something behind scenes. Garbage.
Garbage.
Bull.
That goes with that whole other 17th letter of the alphabet nonsense that gets you to sit back, eat popcorn, and enjoy the show. Well, my show sucks, frankly, and the guy behind me choked on the Raisinets and barfed in my hair. This movie is over. We are now in the action mode. We are like, what was that on the 8th Street Playhouse, Rocky Horror Picture Show, when you actually got involved in the movie itself back in the 80s, if you remember that. You got up and you danced. Well, we are now in the theater and we are participating in the movie. I am not going to sit back and watch a cinema play where the ending stinks again. It's just not going to go down like that. Like you said, we've got to start really campaigning in probably 12 to 15 months for 2026. We better have our ducks in a row. We better know who's running so that we can make sure we sweep the House and the Senate so that we can turn a lot of these executive orders into law. And if we don't, we're screwed, because we saw what happened the last time. They were all gone.
Right. Well, right. And the election process, same thing. Elections, they're sitting there too. No changes. We had massive fraud in this last election. I mentioned to you earlier, I got a huge story coming out. I can't share it right now, but we're wrapping it up. It's huge. It's going to change the narrative of what elections are all, what we've been talking about. I think it's going to bring massive attention to the reality of the situation, like none of the other, stories that we broke at the Gateway Pundit and elsewhere. It's coming out. We're going to drop this thing as soon as we can. It's not quite ready yet, but we want to make sure it's perfect. We're double checking the numbers and stuff like that. And it's going to blow you away. It's going to blow you away.
Well, I know you and I are, I don't think we're sharing the podium. I'm not sure how we're doing it, but we're both
I
speaking.
saw.
Oh, you did? Can you maybe you can
Yeah, it
enlighten
got
the
an
audience
agenda
what we're
there.
doing in a couple weeks?
Yeah, we're gonna both be in St. Louis, which will be awesome.
Yeah?
And actually, outside of St. Louis, St. Charles, where I used to live in St. Charles County for a
Great. I'll
long
be
time.
expecting you to show me the best restaurants.
Oh yeah, and it's a neat area. There's
Yeah.
a lot of new buildings and restaurants and places near there. There's a casino near there too. But it's a red county, big red county, just west of St. Louis, and I would say that there's infiltration by the deep state into these various roles in the county because it's as red as can be, like 90% or what. It's just red and lots of people, and yet they've got some work to do. But anyways, it's we talk. There's going to be cocktail hour Friday night, Saturday presentations. I think starting around 9. There's a keynote speaker at noon, and that's me. And then there's more discussions throughout the afternoon. Then the keynote in the evening is you, Ann, and then
Oh, okay.
some
I hadn't even seen the
during
schedule.
dinner. So I'm during lunch, you're during dinner, and then
Great.
Sunday there's another day of events with a lunch there too. So it should be a great time. I hope people can make it. They could get information at United Sovereign Americans, which is United for America, I think.com. Look up United Sovereign Americans. I also have it advertised at johoft.com at the top, where people can go to get tickets. So hope to
Yeah.
see people there. That'll be fun.
Oh, it's gonna be a great event. There's folks, Marley Hornick, Harry Howery, all they need is powdered wigs and quill pens, and they transport you right back to Martha Washington, George Washington, and you know, that whole time period of real patriots, people who really cared about America and wanted to serve, not because they wanted notoriety, but because they truly believed in what America stood for, the true essence of freedom. And they appreciate, you know, they did this because that's what God wanted. God created man to be free. And my next guest is going to talk about the Charters of Freedom because she equates them to a love letter, the most beautiful love letter to America. And she's right. You know, when you read the Declaration of Independence and you read the Constitution, you realize just how thought-provoking and how intelligent these men were. And it really is very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. But today, things are beyond complicated, and we have so many layers of unnecessary government. And it's great to see that President Trump is actually doing what he needs to do from that level and starting to take down these agencies. And Department of Education going bye-bye is a good start. Hopefully we can get people smart again, making kids smart again now that that stupid thing is gone. Joft Hoft, always good to see you. I really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. And
Thanks,
God bless
Ann.
you. And
It's
I'll
a
see you
pleasure.
soon.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks so much.
All right.
Hi, I'm Joe, Supreme Leader of DCF Guns. What is DCF Guns, you ask? We're the best damn gun store and range in the universe. Do we have guns? We have all the f***ing guns. We got small guns. We got big guns. We even have beastly guns. We offer all types of training, and we have 5 ranges across our 3 locations. I'm a good shot. And of course, we have all types of ammo. We even have flamethrowers. Woo! We offer incredible membership opportunities, and members save even more on guns, ammo, and accessories. Military, both active and retired, and first responders get up to 40% off memberships. Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter. It's hot.
In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle. Do you want to get profits from the world's most productive oil basin? Bloomberg calls the Permian Basin the world's most important growth engine for oil production. Now there's a way for everyday investors to collect monthly checks from an incredible oil hotspot. It's not a stock, and it's not an ETF. Instead, you can actually own royalty rights on over 380,000 acres of prime oil and gas fields. The best part? 95% of all income from this investment gets paid directly to investors like you. You can simply sit back and collect the royalty checks month after month. You can get started with just $25 through any brokerage account. Visit oilboom2025.com to learn more about the opportunity from the Oxford Club's chief income strategist, Mark Lichtenfeld. That's oilboom2025.com to learn how to start collecting Permian Basin oil royalties today.
And welcome back to the second half. Ann Vandersteel here, sitting in for Tina Peters, my next guest, someone I work with closely, and I think she's absolutely brilliant, paralegal common law expert. She's a, should we say, I don't want to say community organizer, because she knows how to bring people from all over the country together. And I've worked with her on various projects, but the one that I really got to see just how brilliant she was when she organized the People's Convoy. You remember the big trucking convoy in 2022 that went across America from California to DC? Well, this brilliant lady is stepping into the ring with me at American Made Foundation and our 501c4, American Made Action. You're going to start to see and hear a lot more about what we're doing, because we've had it. It's time for action. No more talk. Well, joining me now is Maureen Steele, the co-founder of the American Made Foundation. Maureen, I'm so honored to have you join me here tonight as I'm sitting in the lightning chair for the great Tina Peters. No place better to see you than right here.
I know. It almost made me cry seeing pictures of her at the beginning of the show. What a heartbreak at what happened to her. Talk about judicial, malfeasance and, injustice. It's just so terrible.
We're going to get into that, Maureen, but I want people to hear from you a little bit about you, because they may not know you over here on Tina Peters' show. So give them a little background about who you are, and then we'll jump into what we're doing.
Sure. You did a good job introducing me, Anne. Thank you. Yeah, I organize large national movements. I've organized 4 of them since the mandates started. I was never political prior to that. That's what motivated me when they started mandating people to stay in their houses and you can't fly without a mask. That's when I just thought there's something very, very wrong here. So that's when I got activated. I'm also a writer, so my passion lies there. I've been writing a lot of op-eds that are featured in The Blaze and American Thinker and American Greatness. I love organizing people, and I love people, and I love America. And I believe that if people truly understand what's at stake, they will make a change. And I believe we're right at that cusp right now. I think people are really, like you said earlier, people are ready to stand up and take action.
Yeah. Well, I know you and I are, because we've been talking about this for quite some time. And as a broadcaster, someone who sat behind the chair night after night doing this work, it gets very frustrating when you're constantly talking about problems. And I'm a solution-oriented person. You're a solution-oriented person. And while we could, provide solutions on air, we weren't getting our hands dirty. Well, now you and I are literally slinging the mud with the rest of them, but we are now going to cleanse this nation, because we're going to go after the cancer that's inside our country right now. And it is truly the corrupt judiciary. I mean, I think the talk all over Twitter and all over social media these days is just how bad these corrupt judges are. And we're seeing it. They have taken the masks off. They're still wearing those demonic black robes, but they're showing us who they really are. They're literally legislating from the bench based on their ideological, perspective, or perhaps even their own sick predilections. Let's face it, some of these people are demented with some of the things they'll let go by, specifically as we see in family courts time after time, where the abused child is left to go and back to live with the abuser. And the one child who brought the case forward is the one left holding the bag of garbage, frankly, and is shut out. So, Maureen, American Made Foundation, you and I came together because we were sick and tired of seeing the criminality of this government, from agency through judiciary, and the lawlessness that goes on, up down to and including the Bureau of Prisons. Tell everybody why we got this started and what agency it was that just really first just had us so hot under the collar. We said, that's it.
Oh, for certain. CPS. CPS had us really heated and still does. It's basically state sanctioned kidnapping is what it is. In 1997, when Hillary Clinton wrote the Adoption and Safe Families Act, that is what literally put a price tag on every child's head. So whenever you monetize anything like that, you're going to have corruption, especially when it's run by our government. And we're really seeing that now with Doge. They're unearthing so much financial malfeasance and money laundering. And so the CPS, this child kidnapping business run by our government, is an $80 billion a year industry. The divorce industry is a $60 billion a year industry. So they don't, though their paperwork says the goal here is to reunite, it isn't. The goal, they don't make money for that. They're awarded for adoptions. There was a time frame in Hillary's legislation that Bill Clinton signed into law, that you only have 15 months to adopt a child out. So if someone's baby is taken within 15 months, it's got to be up for adoption. So parents go into these administrative courts, these family law courts that do these adoptions and work with CPS. And these judges in black robes are beyond criminal. They're literally stealing children from good families. I get calls every day, and I know you know that, from families that need help, that are desperate. I hear stories of like teenagers, like a 14-year-old girl who, at school is told, and kids are taught this at school, everyone's kind of working together, it seems, that you don't like what your parents say, your parents, won't let you go out, call CPS, call the cops. And so this little girl did. She was missing from her family for 5 years. She's aged out of the program now, but she was raped in foster care, and 85% of children that go into foster care are sexually or physically abused by the foster family. So these are do-gooders that do no good at all. And
Right.
Even if you are taking a child out of a bad familial situation, you're putting them from the fire to the frying pan here. I mean, at least if you're getting abused, if you know your siblings and you're in a familiar environment, it's worse to get abused when you're completely on your own. So the psychological damage, the emotional damage that's happening to these kids, sometimes parents fight for years to try to get their children back, and the odds are stacked against them. They don't have due process. If they had robbed a bank and murdered someone, they would have a better shot in court, because they would at least have a trial by jury, and they would have their unalienable rights protected. Where in family court, it's kangaroo court, it's the Wild West, and the judges literally just shoot from the hip, and there's no law and order in those courts at all.
No.
So they've got to go, and they're harming families. But the whole point is, if you destroy the American family, the backbone of society,
Right.
then you can take it over. And so they took children. It started in the 60s. You start telling mothers, get out of the house. You don't want to be here. Women's libs started. And so the most natural and powerful bond is the bond between a mother and child. So they broke that. Send your kids to daycare. In the 80s, they started pushing the narrative, your kids should go to daycare. They'll get well socialized. They need that. No one thought, well, no one's been to daycare since time immemorial, and everyone's got along socially just fine. And
That's
yet
right.
everyone bought the line. Everyone bought it hook, line, and sinker. So then kids were raised by the schools, and they started implementing, brainwashing there. So here we are. It's a mess.
Part of the problem too, Maureen, frankly, and I always blame I blame the 16th Amendment on this, when people believe that they had to, basically opt into this U.S. tax club and give money to the federal government in the form of taxes. When both parents realized, they couldn't survive on one salary, so that the mother or father could stay home and do the heavy lifting of being a parent. I mean, raising children as a full-time job is incredibly stressful. I've done it, so I know what it means to quit your job, where I was, I had a big job at one point, and I had to quit that and stayed home with the kids. Would never have traded that for a second. But I can tell you, it was a lot more stressful and taxing than going to an office when I was sort of king of the hill. Right. And so it's really a totally different mindset. People don't appreciate that. It's a labor of love. And you're right. Women are gifted for that. But the 16th Amendment made it so unaffordable for one person to just be the breadwinner that both had to go. And like you said, they sexified it by saying, oh, you're not worth anything unless you're in the workforce too. Don't let the man be the only one making the money. So it's a complete psyop. You're absolutely right. And I really do hope President Trump moves forward with his as he said, perhaps getting rid of the IRS, abolishing that horrible organization. And to the black robes, to the criminals, the bar card mafia, as you and I refer to them, it has become so gross and so blatant, their agendas. It's just absolutely grotesque what we now witness coming out of these men in robes on high, as they're looking down on you, asking you if you understand. When a judge asks you that, Maureen, what should you say if you're in the court and you are not represented? You are there to represent yourself. What should you say to a judge when he says, "Do you understand?"
No, I do not.
Exactly. And why is that?
Because they're asking you, it's legalese. So it's not even English in there. So what they've done is they've changed what you and I think is the pejorative meaning of something. When you say understand, my meaning of it is do you comprehend, Maureen?
Right.
But they've changed that meaning. And so when you're in court, that means, do you stand under me? And you don't stand under anybody, just God. And so they trap you like that. And so they use word salad a lot. If you look up person, what is a person? Well, I think it's a human individual. That is a person in the singular. And what it means in the US code, if you look it up, and anyone can look it up right now, go in the US code, look up person, it is a dead entity. So when they write something like, a person has a right to dead, it means a dead entity. Dead entities have rights to nothing. They're dead. So it's just word salad, because they know you're going to understand it in the pejorative meaning of the word person here in this country. So they just change the meaning of the words on their end. And if you're not astute enough or aren't capable of going and looking up all the terms, you're going to lose. And the system was rigged against us. And again, this is unconstitutional. So they put an overlay. We had a lawful system and they put a legal system on top of it with a new language no one could speak. And again, it's unconstitutional because we're entitled to, fair hearings and fair trials. And how could they possibly be if we're entering a room where we don't even speak the language,
Right.
So,
Right.
they've set us up. But the good news is on February 20th of this year, the Solicitor General sent out a notice. And basically, she said that President Trump absolutely unequivocally has the right to fire judges. And he also has the right to abolish all of these lower courts. He can do it. Absolutely, it's within his power to do it, and it needs to be done. And the other thing is, it's within our power too, according to the Constitution. We aren't helpless, and we're all waiting around to try to see what they're going to do, and they need to fix it. They don't. This
Who's
is our
they?
country. Right? We lost it. We lost it because we were.
We are they.
Yeah, and so we have the right to abolish. In fact, that's what our charters of freedom say: is if it becomes so corrupt, it's irredeemable, you must abolish. And so the courts need to be abolished. These agencies need to be abolished. But beyond that is we need all these criminals held accountable. We need jail sentences, and we need, maximum charges for treason. And we all know what that is. And I'll bring popcorn for that show. Yeah, I mean, these people have destroyed our country. They've destroyed lives, and they've enslaved us all. And it's absolutely despicable. But this is the year that the truth is going to come out, Ian. I think so clearly that even people that were on the fence going, it can't be, it can't be. It absolutely is what it is. It's a corrupt system, and we're going to take our nation back.
Well, again, Maureen, you hit the nail on the head. Who are they? Well, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. No, you know who they are? It's you and me and everybody watching. We are the government. The Constitution is super clear. It's in common law, plain English. We, the people, we come together to form a more perfect union. It's us. It's not Congress. It's not my state legislature. It's not the World Economic Forum or the United Nations or any of these NGOs. We, the people that live on this land, we are the government. And until we finally really absorb what that means and act like it, we will forever be saying, well, when are they going to do something? Speaking of they, I just want to pull this up because posted on March 19th in the Gateway Pundit, Josh Hawley, right, slams rogue judges. This is the actual headline. Calls on Congress to roll back nationwide injunctions. He's basically calling on Congress to curtail federal judges' authority to issue nationwide injunctions. I mean, by law, they're not allowed to do that.
They aren't. So we don't need to ask Judge Josh Hawley to do, or he doesn't need to ask anything.
Congress to do it. They just can't do it. So if judges are taking it upon themselves to put injunctions out there, like trying to tell President Trump, turn the plane around of all those, Tren de Aragua gang members that have taken over apartment buildings that are here in our country illegally, turn the plan. No. And to Pam Bondi's credit, she said, no, we're not doing that. We're going to keep flying them out of here. This is what's so insane, that we're actually leaning on Congress. It just tells me nobody knows the Constitution, Maureen. I mean, do you think there's anybody that you've seen in government right now that could, definitely say they understand what's going on with our Constitution and would probably act accordingly?
No, because the bar tells the law schools what to teach, and what they teach is statutes, codes, and policy and procedure. That doesn't apply to us. That is for corporations, and that's for them. The only thing that applies to us is the Constitution. And we have unalienable rights, and their sole purpose is to enforce those rights, to make sure our rights aren't undermined. And they've twisted it all. Also to your end, I think our Congress is so wildly corrupt, and so isn't the Senate. We have people that we vote in there, and they make $180,000 to $220,000 a year. And as you and I both know, that barely gets you by in DC, with rent or buying a home and food and all of that. So how is it that after 4 years or 8 years, they've got $20 million in the bank? I mean, these people are being bought and paid for. They're not working for us. So it's like the rape victim going back to her rapist for help. I mean, we are trying to go to the Congress to straighten out these judges. These judges have already proven they are warring against the Constitution, thus warring against the American people. They work for us. They just need to be removed. Just fired, just gone. And the president has the ability to do it. The Solicitor General came out on the 20th to say he absolutely does. And he has the right to abolish all these lower courts, and he must. And then we, the people, must go after them. And that's our plan with DOJA and American Made, is start going after these judges and trying them for treason. It must be done, or this is going to happen again.
Well, exactly. And history has a funny way of repeating itself, as we now see history and republics, I should say, rise and fall about every 250 years. We are really getting and approaching our past our sell-by date, where we should literally be collapsed. And we are in the process of a collapse. We're in a process of a financial collapse. The financial system that was fraudulently put upon us had a life cycle, and we have approached the end of that life cycle. In fact, it's happening around the world. But I think freedom is infectious, and I think we're seeing, this sort of worldwide movement to toss the tyranny. And I'm hopeful, but I'm not certain. So, in order for DOJA, you brought up Department of Government Accountability. How can people become a part of that department? Because again, it's incumbent on us, we the people. So break down what DOJA is, because that's a big part of what we're going to be doing at American Made Action, our C4 political action arm of this organization we have.
Yeah, so we're going to be bringing the accountability piece. We formed the United Law Coalition, where we have law experts, and notice I'm saying lawful and not legal. Lawful experts from around the country, lawyers and paralegals and common law experts, where we are going to be seeking accountability in the courts, launching lawsuits, doing whatever needs to be done to make sure these people are held accountable. If we ask a sheriff to serve, an indictment or something, and he refuses, he's on the hit list next, because that's unconstitutional. If there's cops that are being ordered by CPS to go pick up kids, and there's been no trial, people need to understand you must learn the law. If you go as a cop and you go and take those kids, you just committed a crime. You just kidnapped children from their parents with no trial, no hearing, and that's against the Constitution. And that's what people don't understand. Statutes don't mean nothing. That's made up. That's all legal fiction. The only thing that matters in the supreme law of the land is the Constitution. So that's where we're going, and we're going to be holding everyone accountable. We're going to be insisting on it. We're going to have action items. In fact, we are going to have one up. Our site for American Made Action will be up on Monday, and we already have an action item on there. And actually, it is a affidavit to remove the corrupt judges. And it states all the laws in there on why we can do it. We don't need the president to do it even. We can just demand it. Everyone is underneath us. It's like the pyramid. It's God on top, and then it's us, and then it's the government. We created it, and we're above them.
And this is what people forget. President Trump isn't the boss. We're the
No,
boss. And
we're
we
the
love
boss.
President Trump, but he works for us. We chose him and we're asking him to execute and clean up this corruption, drain the swamp, which means getting rid of these agencies, cleaning up the judiciary, getting rid of these unconstitutional administrative law courts, which are procedural. They're not based in constitutional law. And this is what they're taught in law school, right? It should be called
It is.
legal school because it's really legal fiction. They're not taught law, they're taught legal fiction. And that's procedural statutory law. There was a post out today, not today, but on Thursday, the March of this week, and you actually responded to it, Maureen. It was basically an admission of this massive secret club of judges. I had sort of an expletive when I learned about it. I won't release that here, but Bad Kitty originally unleashed put this post out saying 5 anti-Trump judges are involved in a secretive invite-only club for judges and lawyers called the American Inns of Court. Even the membership in meetings are secret, but somehow the DOJ has shown up at meetings, at least since Biden had been in office. She asks, is hobnobbing with the DOJ in court matters acceptable, let alone meeting in secret? So who all is linked? And she names Judge James Boasberg, SCOTUS Ketanji Brown Jackson, Judge Amit Mehta, Judge Barry Howell, Justice John Roberts. So this is, in my estimation, incredibly disturbing to see a couple of Supreme Court justices in this secret meeting where they're all Trump haters.
Yeah.
What do you think goes on? What is the purpose of this?
Well, they're activist judges. They're part of the New World Order. They're not there for justice. They're there to implement an agenda. And so what shocks me the most is that they're still sitting there today. For them to announce this like this, I mean, this is what you get sued for if this is not true. This would be slanderous and libelous and all of that. So I think it is true. And so the fact, if it is true and they have enough evidence to, have Bad Kitty or whatever come out with it today, they should already be removed. These people should already be in handcuffs and gone. This is treason of the highest order. They are literally trying to undermine the will of the American people. He was a duly elected president. He's doing the will of the people, and they're trying to undermine that. You can't do it. It's like this Judge Boasberg, who's on this list as well. One of the things I was thinking about with the deportation of what they called immigrants. And so how they got away with this, the ACLU had no standing to bring this case because it wasn't being brought by the victims of the deportation, if you will. One of the things that they said and they used, it was the old Hunt case. There was a precedent there that if, like, we're an organization, an ACLU is an organization that, defends immigrant rights. Okay. So that's what they hung their hat on, that they had the right to bring this in the first place. Judge Boasberg was wrong, even allowing them to bring this case, because these are not immigrants. They did not go through the immigration process. These are foreign invaders. These are criminals illegal aliens who came here. None of the people in our country that didn't come here through our immigration process should be defended by the ACLU. That should not be allowed. And if he's applying the letter of the law, then he never would have granted that. So that's one thing I've been fascinated by watching this whole Boasberg thing, why no one's brought that up. These aren't immigrants. And that's the only reason the ACLU could bring that case. And I haven't heard one person make that point. And I think it's a really good one. They're not immigrants. So,
just like some of the, student visas, Mahmoud Khalil, who's here, he should be deported. This is a guy who's openly protesting against America and Israel, and he's, basically threatening war here, essentially. And he's had free education, free room and board. He's now managed to get some kind of a Gibson Go or GoFundMe or whatever for his, quote, legal defense, $500,000. He should just be deported. But an activist judge is now holding him and preventing him from being deported. This is the kind of stuff that just needs to end. He does not get afforded the rights to free speech. He's not an American citizen. So the First Amendment doesn't apply to him. You can't say that he's having his, constitutional rights violated when he's not even a citizen of this country. So it's just the interpretation of the law has been so skewed based on what these people think in their head. I would encourage people to, if you go to my X or to Maureen's X, you can find us at Vandersteel, at Maureen Steele _. and read this post by Bad Kitty Unleashed. It's unbelievable what's in it. Listen, we are running out of time. I say, oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Paula, for putting that up. Maureen, this tweet is a mind blower, and people really should go and read the entire thread, because Bad Kitty goes through this whole thread and she breaks it all the way down to the secret societies coming out of the UK. And we all know, Maureen, what does the BAR stand for? BAR?
The British Accreditation Registry. So that's or an Admiralty. Is it Admiralty or
Admiralty Registry? Yeah.
Admiralty Registry. I just drew a blank. So there's the lawyers here are sworn to the crown, and in our charters of freedom it says no one can hold any position that has a nobility title. Esquire is a title of nobility, and
Right.
every lawyer is given that. So again, it's been a crime syndicate for generations, and we just didn't know it. So people that think the world is so bad right now, it isn't. We're just hearing about it now, and it's shocking.
It really is shocking. Well, Maureen, we are running up hard on I guess end of show time here. We have so much to talk about. You and I are launching a show called American Made. It's going to be weekly. It will be on Worldview Tube television, which is Brandon Howe's network. We are starting the tapings of it. It's going to be really kind of an educational series, and we're going to start from ground zero, and we're going to build on there. We're going to be showing people how to take down these agencies, and we're going to explain how we've become chattel, and we're going to explain, how we can undo all this damage. But we're going to give people action items, because it's one thing to sit back and with your remote control and, oh yeah, great, they're horrible and you suck and all this stuff. But if you just do that, you're not getting yourself out of the problem. So we're going to show people how to get themselves out if they want to get out. Everybody has choices, right? So
Indeed.
wheat and
Yeah.
chaff moment in history, people. Do you want to be wheat or chaff? You can choose. God gave you discernment. Maureen Steele, co-founder of American Made Foundation. Great to see you. I know we have a good weekend ahead of us, so I'm looking forward to seeing you, and I appreciate you on this journey as we take back and restore the Republic.
Thanks for having me on, Ann.
You got it. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. It was an honor to sit in the privileged chair for Tina Peters. Go to tinapeters.us. Please, 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 if you can afford $5, $50, or $500. She needs the money for her attorneys. This is a massive battle to get her out of this state prison in Colorado. The corrupt judge there, I think Maureen and I will put him on our wall of shame for a hit list, because he needs to be sued into an oblivion himself for what he's done to this woman. God bless you all. Have a great evening. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you again next time here on the Tina Peters Show.
Hi, Tina Peters here.
See, today they go after you if you're investigating.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.